Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the ServiceMonster podcast. My name is Adam, and I'm actually going to be today's host. Joe is out for some personal things, so we're going to be cutting things short, just doing the update portion for our weekly listeners. And Javi will be co-hosting today. And so if you've watched the show before, you know who he is. But Javi, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. Well, my name is Javi. If you guys have been watching, prior to this, we had the ServiceMonster show. I was on that for a bit. I'm the sales guy here at ServiceMonster. So, I get to talk to a variety of different business owners and see if we're a great fit for them and vice versa.
Yep, he actually sits just a few desks away from me, so I get to hear his awful jokes all day. But
that's right, man. How do I answer the phone, man? Ring, ring.
Ring, ring. Taking over the world today. All those.
Yep, something like that. It's awesome. Yeah,
So with that, I hope everyone survived April Fools. Javi here is actually the jokester of the team, kind of the prankster. So Javi, why don't you tell the story of the main prank you did this year to a couple of us on the sales team?
Yeah. So I mean, if you guys know about ServiceMonster and its awesome features inside, there's a texting button, and I went on there and I copied over the text message that I received from AT&T about a payment confirmation. I just changed the verbiage around, and I shot a couple of those to some coworkers and watched their face, slowly turn into desperate panic. And I upped the price on some of the...
Yeah, the first one you sent me didn't really get me, and then you sent a second one that was like $600, and that was just like...
this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like...
I mean, it's a cell phone company, so maybe that's not that ridiculous.
No,
with prices
I mean,
these days.
Taxes and fees and whatnot, right? Like, but I did send a funny Puget Sound energy to one of our support staff, and I went to the bathroom, came back, and she had flipped, was on the phone with her husband, and I'm like, oh man, this has gone too far. But that was pretty funny for sure. It's all jokes, and it's funny now.
Yeah, that's how all pranks should end, with everyone kind of laughing, right? That's kind of the joke of, it's kind of the sign of a good prank there.
Yeah, but no more laughing. Let's get down to business, man. Yeah. So SMUG, guys. Mr. Alan Falls, he went ahead and asked about some things missing in the quick ad, which is something that we brought up before, right, Adam?
Yeah, it's something that I've fought for pretty much, even back in summer and fall. Kind of just a couple of things on the quick ad that I think some of our users would like to eliminate those clicks. And so we'll be taking another look at the quick ad after the schedule revamp that goes through for those additional use cases. It's just kind of one of those two areas work very hand in hand with each other, right? And the development side of it is making sure that we don't have too many things in there so that someone doesn't feel like they're forced to go through those steps. And we actually have another SMUG post that kind of relates to this. But if you think you have to complete 18 steps before you can move on,
it's not really a quick ad anymore.
Yeah, you can be kind of a little bit daunting there.
Yeah.
So there's no timetable or anything like that, but this is something that will be brought up in those product team discussions. Right.
Yeah. Thanks, Adam, for that. And thank you, Alan, for that great question. Always bringing great feedback to us. But Heather, you also had a post about time tracking and payroll. So what was that about, Adam?
Yeah, well, just to kind of start that off, to be clear, ServiceMonster does not want to be an accounting or a payroll software. This question gets asked a lot.
A lot in the sales, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the main things you kind of have to curb stomp, I guess, right at the beginning there. Is just
I'm like, whoa. That's QuickBooks.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was nice to see that community feedback. Seemed like the winner in the post was T-Sheets, but there was some good feedback from other users there. So,
and it's great because it goes right in, hand in hand with QuickBooks. It's all an Intuit product. So.
Yep. Exactly.
We do have some basic features in there, but it's not at all intended for time tracking. It's basically just per job.
Right.
And I don't think we'll go any further than that anytime soon.
Yeah, the kind of intent behind that. It's kind of tracking how efficient you're on the job. Are your new hires maybe finishing too fast? Are they taking too long? It's kind of like helping that training, making sure you're as efficient as you can be while still, maintaining that quality of work.
Right.
So.
Right. Absolutely. And we have another question, right? Lee had a couple of questions about training his employees. And I thought you'd be a great person to talk about this, Adam. So.
Yes. So as someone who trains a great many people on the software.
By the way, I call him whenever I make a sale. I refer to you and Michael as Yoda and Obi-Wan, and them as the Jedi. So
great trainer.
This is Yoda with a beard.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So anyways, with the first question Lee had was kind of, how do I make, an account without affecting my numbers? So I don't want my fake kind of information I put in there to give me a false, idea. Like this month, we did an extra 15 grand. That was great. Except it was all, fake.
Right.
And I think there was a little bit of miscommunication between him and Joe. Joe was mostly saying just make a fake account and then delete it out afterwards. And that's usually what I recommend. In fact, a lot of the training process, I'll just make a customer whose first name is test, last name is customer. It's super obvious it's not a real customer. And the great thing is, or I guess maybe the not great thing is, if you're not understanding this process, is when you fully delete out an account, and because of this, there's a lot of safety precautions set in place. But when you fully delete an account, it will remove all of those jobs, all of those orders out of the system.
Everything to do with that account.
So you can use that test customer, train up your technicians, do all of the kind of example use cases that they're going to see. And at the end of the day, delete them out and your numbers aren't affected.
Right.
The second process he asked about was kind of uploading some documents to the account area. And Joe mentioned you can attach these to an activity. And he was having a little bit of trouble finding that. So I just figured we'd kind of address that. If you make an activity, really no matter where, as long as it's attached to that account, you can make the activity anywhere.
Right.
After you've saved it. So it's a little bit, I think that's where the confusion.
After you've saved it.
Yeah, after you've saved it, if you go back into that activity, on the left-hand side, there's a little section where you can now attach a document to it.
Yeah, there'll be like 2 more tabs on the left-hand side, and there'll be 2 pages stacked on top of each other where you can go ahead and attach that. And you can actually attach those activities on the account level and even deeper into the order level if you want to. So
that's exactly right. So maybe that's something we could get
and I'm not the sharpest tool in the drawer, or what did it say? Knife in the shed or something like that. If I can do it, anybody can do it, man. So
I think you're on the right track with that tool. Comparison. No, I'm sorry.
No, it's true though. But yeah, next question. Is that?
Yeah.
Is that good?
We might get a little short video, something like that, to go over this process.
Yeah, because you kind of need to know where it's at.
Yeah.
You have to know where you're looking.
So let's add that to my list.
Great. So Bruno asked a question about price quotes and didn't realize that he could already do that via the quick add. So
yeah, and this is kind of what I was referencing earlier about how if you think you have to go through all of these steps to get to the next step, on the quick add, each of those sections of the quick add on the left-hand side, account, order, job, confirmation,
right,
you can move around to those in any order. It does require an account to save it, but you can go straight into the order section, fill that out, find out what the quote's going to be for what they're looking for, give them that price over the phone, and if they're interested, go back to the account screen and start filling the stuff in.
Right. It's not like 7 plus 3 equals 10. It's 3 plus 7 also equals 10. There's multiple ways to go ahead and go through that process.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think really the confusion from that might stem from the fact that all of our training videos, they do go step by step, account to order to job. Maybe we do need to make a bigger emphasis on that, just as far as like a quick segment, like, hey, you can do this in any order. It's meant this way, but you don't have to go through all those steps. And that's just really that design and development side of things I was mentioning earlier, is if if it's laid out like that, sometimes it's not as intuitive as we think it might be.
Exactly. I mean, nobody's going to call you as a service business owner and say, hey, my name is Javi. My phone number is, 123. My email is ABC. My social security number is yada, yada. Okay, now can you give me a quote? It's usually the other way around. But yeah, way to bring that up, man, because it's not always structured and when you're in the heat of the moment.
Yep. So thank you, as always, to our SMUG users for their collaboration. There's been a lot of good stuff there. Really feel like since the podcast, we've even had a little bit more chatter in there than usual. So it's been a lot of good stuff is in there.
And Joe's enjoying that for sure.
Yeah.
And we need to hear more. Keep it up, guys. Thank you. Yeah.
Hopefully Joe is back next week. We'll have kind of our regular podcast. Be on the lookout. Javi's going to be on future podcasts. Not sure exactly when, but we're kind of diving into the sales mindset, things like that. Javi will be kind of the guest, similar to when Michael was on for the marketing stuff. And I hope everyone has a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
That's right. Thank you.
Thanks, Justin. Always appreciate that. No one else ever hops in on this. You clapped after all of these.